I do want to introduce our next speaker, Michelle, who works at Protocol Labs on the growing Filecoin ecosystem. I'll let Michelle intro herself a little bit better than I can and get things started right now.
Thank you so much. Give me just a second to get going on the slides. Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Lee, also known as Mosh, in various Slacks, GitHubs, and Discords around the internet. Really happy to be here today to talk about some grants opportunities for your IPFS and Filecoin projects. I am calling to you from Philadelphia. It's in the northeastern US, but it's got a pretty subtropical climate, and it's about 985 degrees outside today and 90% humidity. It reminds me of the jungle a lot, especially with my friends who I go mountain biking with in the woods here. And we, in a jungle, everything's growing all the time. They're intertwined, they're interdependent. You've got vines choking trees, which are shading ferns, which are catching sediment so that other plants can take root and grow. And that feels a lot like how Web3 is these days, with just an infinite number of projects that are getting off the ground, getting started, combining to make new patterns. Really, really exciting space. But this can't happen without a few key resources: water, air, nutrients in the soil. And it's through this grants program that the Filecoin project is really committed to providing some of the resources for projects building on the stack to take root and grow. So today I'm talking about grants, but there's also all sorts of technical and architecture design support. Our entire team is an open book. We love to talk with you about your projects. Today I'll focus specifically on grants though. So I'm part of this ecosystem development onboarding team, and our goal is to enable developers and entrepreneurs like yourselves to execute on your dreams through advocacy, grants, and collab support as you iterate towards success. So coming in through independent projects or certain events or hackathons, however you come in, there's a certain point at which projects just need a little more support or funding to keep going and push through. And whether for you the escape velocity means business profitability or the next level of investments, or joining an accelerator program, or successfully building an independent volunteer community for your project, whatever success means to you, we want to help you get there. So there's two main types of grants programs that I'll dive into today, but there's, like I said, this is not the only form of support we provide. So if you're kind of stuck, or you're thinking that you would love to connect with other communities to take your project to the next level, we're happy to chat no matter what structure that takes. But I'll give a little bit of an overview of one of the grants programs. It's called Next Step MICROGRANTS. The idea is that it's a flat $5,000 in Filecoin tokens to take the next step on your hackathon or independent project. The main criteria is that Filecoin, IPFS, or libp2p was used in the project stack, and it can be either directly or through a framework or library or service like Pinata or Textile, NFT.storage, Estuary, anything that directly or indirectly uses the stack qualifies. It's a very lightweight application with weekly review, and it's selected based on criteria. So it's not a zero-sum game. There's no stack ranking. If your project meets these very simple criteria, we would be excited and thrilled to support you. So the application's via GitHub issue. I'll walk through how that works. First of all, in the Dev Grants repository, you can check out some accepted grant applications to take a look at what we funded in the past, take a look at how those successful applications have shared their info. And then to apply, you create a new issue. It kicks off a template. You complete the 6 questions, which includes some proof of your open source license, or a link to the project showcase submission that you previously made. But it's less than 2 pages. Hit submit new issue, and we will review and get back to you within a week. So just want to get out of the way and help you keep building. The other major grants program that I wanted you all to be aware of is the Open Grants program. And this is funded by multiple parties, not just Protocol Labs, the Filecoin Foundation, a lot of other collaborators and partners as well. And these grants typically are $5,000 to $50,000 for novel work to apply the stack in new domains, bring significant new usage, add a really awesome tool to the tooling stack. So it tends to be kind of end-to-end projects rather than, hey, I started something and just want to take the next step. We also have some dedicated tracks for projects that integrate across Web3. We just announced a collaborative grant program with Hedera and with Chainlink, and there's many, many more to come. I would call the application process, still pretty lightweight, but a little more involved than the microgrant. And we review those every single month. So, average 2 weeks for you to get a response, and at most 1 month. So, figure out your project idea, talk to your collaborators, talk to your partners, talk to friends, or come into the Discords and Slacks and share some of what you're thinking. You can also check out the requests for proposals, which are listed in the Dev Grants repository in the Filecoin project. And these list areas of interest that we're particularly interested in funding, but we're also very much encouraging and welcoming of your novel ideas. After that, you submit a PR using the proposal templates that's linked. And like I mentioned, we will get back to you within a month with the response. Sometimes there's a little bit of back and forth just to clarify what you meant, or structure it in a way that's a little bit more amenable to the grants program. But in general, it's still a fairly lightweight submission process, and we're very happy to have it be a conversation rather than has to be perfect on the first shot. Just a few of the projects that we've funded through this program in the past, give you a sense of many different layers of the stack and totally different domains. AJAM is a really cool IPFS app that allows you to do asynchronous jam sessions for musicians. So let's say I record a little guitar riff, it gets posted to IPFS, and then I can send the link to AJAM to my friend, to ZX over there. And from 5 states away or 2 continents away, ZX can layer another track onto mine, and we can write a song together. So pretty cool, especially in the pandemic when it's harder for musicians to collaborate in real life. Next project was funded through an open grant, totally different type of project. This is a utility that splits and preps really big files before they get stored on Filecoin, and it's called GoGraphSplit. So this was just an idea for a really simple, nice, reusable tool, and GoGraphSplit is the result. The last one I wanted to share is on the right. It's called the GeoWeb project. And here we're funding not just software, but also a system. So this team is actually working with their state government on a plan to anchor digital property rights to physical land. It's an environment where property records are not particularly well trusted property records with the government, at least. So they're working on building a digital system that crosses over into the physical realm. Really, really cool. Our grants also fund community building work, software, educational materials. So really anything that contributes to growing the ecosystem as a whole. So that's just a showcase. If I were to leave you with one message, I would say it's just that we don't bite. We really, really welcome conversation throughout the application process. If you want to create a draft PR or file a work in progress issue, we're happy to comment on that before you submit formally. If you're not ready to do that yet and just want to chat, you can send us an email at grants@filecoin.org, or find us in the Filecoin Slack at grants-questions. And think of this as no matter where you are on your journey or where you think you're headed or don't know where you're headed yet, non-dilutive capital is always a great thing. So thanks for having me here. Hope to see lots of project proposals and submissions in the future, and look forward to being in touch. Thank you.
Michelle, thank you so much for that amazing presentation. Just got a couple questions here, so we can just get a little bit more context. And I know, of course, we can all find out this on the Filecoin Slack and on GitHub. But when you think about these grants, like how are you planning on structuring this internally? Is it more about you need specific problems to be solved, or is it about anybody who wants to continue building on this ecosystem, we can do this thing? How do you kind of balance the demand versus kind of core things that you would like people to focus on? And could you share a little bit about that? Oh, you're muted, by the way, sorry.
Let me unmute because I know how to use computers. Thanks, Kartik. I think the balance historically has been 75% open, 25% RFP type projects. Some examples of RFP projects are like the reputation service that's being built, so you can query miners and their prior deal stats and make a selection based on that, or different wallets, for example. But like the vast majority of the grant proposals are people submitting their own ideas, and we really like to see that because it means not only they're contributing work that we wouldn't have been able to produce within the existing community, but also ideas and bridges to domains that they are really experts in and that they care about. So yeah, there's no preference when it comes to selection.
And then maybe just another way to dissect that same question. How do you think about IPFS versus Filecoin in this equation? And is that even a distinction to the program?
Yeah, I think we're taking a much more integrated approach now on the ecosystem front, where IPFS has always been a part of Filecoin and libp2p as well, like used as really key building blocks there, and now we're also seeing tools on the other end, tools like Estuary, NFT.storage, Web3 storage, and yada, that kind of wrap the two together from the consumer end. So that's why there's no point in us drawing lines or making distinctions between projects that use certain subsets of these technologies. For us, it's a win to decentralize the web and data on the web, no matter what which of these protocols is more prominent for a given builder.
That's absolutely fair. And one last question for me, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, but could you share a little bit more about some of the RFPs that are going on and sort of what matters in terms of priority right now to the ecosystem?
Yeah, I would love to. You can also find and read. So everything I talk about, you can find at filecoin-project/dev-grants and then look under RFPs. But right now we've announced several collaborations with other Web3 projects, right? So there's a lot of apps being built incorporating smart contracts. A lot of these smart contract platforms are built to be really nimble, like really fast transactions, fast chain throughput, very lightweight, and an enterprise application might make 10,000 calls a minute to a chain. And these chains are not designed to be really fast, but they're not designed to hold a bunch of data. And so if you think about smart contracts being like the logic layer of Web3 and Filecoin and IPFS being the data layer, they work really well hand in hand. And so some of the RFP areas are on building integrations between, for example, Hedera token service and Filecoin storage, Filecoin IPFS storage, or using Chainlink oracles that take Filecoin storage and connect it to off-chain systems. So quite a few RFPs listed in that realm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing those insights and talking about the grants program. And we have a little bit over 100 projects that are planning on submitting on Sunday. So we'll be sure to tell everybody how they can actually keep continuing to build on their work and get more non-dilutive funding. So really appreciate this, and thanks again.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me. Good luck to all the teams.